Welcome to Who Knew. We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and here we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights into the modern regeneration of the show. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WhoKnewPodcast. All our episodes are on WhoKnewPodcast.com. You can leave comments there or email us at WhoKnewPodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram and Twitter account. Tweet at us at WhoKnewPodcast. And find us on Facebook. All right. Hi, Eugene here. We're going to do a special Comic-Con episode, which just happened at the end of July. In our time, that was about a week and a half ago. So, I have here with me Brian and Frank. Say hello.
Hello.
So, there will be spoilers ahead if you haven't watched the current season of Doctor Who on Disney Plus for us in America, because there was a Hall H panel at Comic-Con, and so we're here to talk about that.
Yay. I think the important thing is, how long did you wait to get into Hall H?
Well, this time it was... They usually do it on a Sunday at noonish, but this year it was on a Friday afternoon at 12:30.
I thought that was a weird time.
Yeah, I did too, because I'm always planning for a Sunday.
Well, it's also the slowest day. Does that mean it's not... I mean, it is Hall H, which is great, but I'm kind of hoping that it's still like one of the big guys. The hall was full, right?
Yeah, the hall was definitely full, and I'm trying to think of what I did. So I think me and my friends, we lined up, or we got into the Hall H line around 6 o'clock in the morning, and we knew we were going to sit through several panels that wasn't our main panel of choice.
The boys?
Yes, so I sat through the boys, not sat through, but I watched, attended the boys, Rings of Power.
That's right.
And then I think the Doctor Who panel was the third one. I can't think of the...
Yeah, you told me it was the third.
Yeah.
Did you stand during the boys?
No, we got right in.
Oh, okay.
And then we were just, let's say, there's that front row section, and then there's another section where the big pillar and the camera podium is, so I don't want to be there. But then for the boys, we were like in the back, and then as things let out, we moved up forward, and then I got to the point when Doctor Who started that I was beyond the pillar and beyond the big screen, so all I had in front of me was the stage with the talent, the moderator, and then their big screen, so there was nothing obstructing that view.
Nice.
Very nice. So for the extra geeky out there, when you got into the Hall H line, where were you?
We were by the water.
Okay. then
that's normal.
Normal.
Yeah. Yeah, we were not in the chutes, as they call them, where they line up people to condense the line and then they herd you into Hall H. So we were not by the tented areas yet. We were by the water.
A long shot. You were not.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like Comic-Con has new rules for Hall H lines. What would you call it? Management. It changes every year.
Well, I don't think there's a perfect solution, but I think they keep trying, and you can't really blame them.
Yeah, but I feel like they should have one figured out by now.
They should have more shoots.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about line management.
It's Comic-Con.
It's something that we all think about when we're there.
It's Comic-Con. You have to talk about the lines.
I mean, the last time that, like, I can't do this anymore, we didn't get in. We were up by the water. We'd started. But it was just at a time where nobody was leaving, so there wasn't a room for us to get to the panel. It's like we missed the first few panels, but we're still trying to go for ours, which was Doctor Who, and it's like we missed it. We've been here for how long? So
yeah, it happens.
It does.
It never happens at Star Trek.
What did they? Oh well, they did have
Vegas.
a panel. But okay, so the panel consisted of a moderator who had a podcast, as I think 99% of people do now. And then it was Russell T Davies, Ncuti Gatwa, and Millie Gibson. Again, spoilers for anybody who has not kept up with this current season of Doctor Who. You have been warned. We're going to talk about what they talked about, so there are spoilers ahead. The first thing I noticed was that the moderator said Russell T Davies.
I noticed that.
And I was like, well, I could have done a better job. I did my homework.
And it gets me thinking again, is there a variation that we're both missing, like between Davies and Davis?
I mean,
it's like
we hear him introduce himself as Russell the Davies, So
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to pronounce it the way the person who owns the name pronounces it.
Right. That's what we've been doing. But
Yeah.
I had an old boss who spelled it the same way and said Davis.
Yeah. Like if somebody says, "Hi, my name is Christopher, not Chris," I'm going to refer to them as Christopher.
Yeah.
Until they say, "You can call me Chris."
Right.
or Christoph. No.
Or Topher, like Topher Grace.
Right.
Anyway, so
Don't sue the name.
yeah. But usually when you have a show like Doctor Who is a smaller cast because you have a rotating cast, so it was a smaller panel, but it was high energy, and I love that the chemistry between all three of them. The moderator barely did anything, which I think is a testament to the people on the panel instead of the moderator's inability.
Yeah, I mean, it's Russell.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be talking. He loves it. He just loves talking.
Yeah.
So, trying to interrupt him or trying to get anything could be hurtful to the, panel because you want to hear what he has to say.
And he could just hold a room of how many people are in Hall H?
I think it fits like 6,000.
So, yeah,
something like that.
and he could just keep all of them entertained the entire time.
Yeah, when my least favorite part of any panel is the audience Q&A, but then when somebody brought up the Richard E. Grant Dr. Scream of Shalka animated special, is that part of canon? Because in the Rogue episode, Richard E. Grant shows up when they show all the incarnations of the Doctor. He was asking, is that canon? Because it's never been acknowledged. So Russell really fielded that question very well and saying, canon is up to you. It's whatever you want it to be. If you want it to be canon, then it's canon. If you don't want it to be, then it's okay. It's not. And and I think they said that's all that matters is what you want it to be.
I think that was a really good answer because it's always been this way, but especially recently, people get attacked on social media. I mean, we had this back in grade school too, where we would fight over it. But I do like the fact that he just said, "It basically have fun."
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
And it doesn't always translate what he says in how he says it, because Eugene, you went there. We watched it just a few days ago or on TV. So from before that, we heard it or I read it all online, and how people were saying, "Well, whatever you want is canon." It just had a tone to it of it doesn't matter. Canon doesn't matter. We're just going to mess with everything, and that's how they were taking it, and that was the tone. But when we watched him actually say it, it's like, this is a fun show that we all love. So if you want it to be canon, have fun.
Yeah.
If you don't want it to be canon, have fun. It was just a fun thing to do, to recognize something that was there, and then we brought him back and to highlight the actor. So it was a whole different kind of tone to it than you get on social media.
And he was complimenting
Yes.
the fans by saying that. He was saying, it's your imagination. Use it. You're all good at it. I don't agree with some of his canon stuff.
Right. But still, I mean, the way he said it,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now I know what you're saying. I can pick up on the tone rather than just typed words.
Yeah, and I feel like for a property that is celebrating its 60th anniversary, the canon is gonna bury you. So I think his response is appropriate for such a rich canon, shall we say?
Right.
I mean, how many origin stories did the Daleks have and the Cybermen?
We never cared about that.
Oh, well, no. Well,
We did, but we forgave it easier.
I think it's because the new quote unquote new origin was good. If you take the Daleks, the second serial of the first Doctor is the Daleks, and there's two races, the Thals and the Dals. There's a civil war on that planet. And then when you go to Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor, in Genesis of the Daleks, it's the Kalids now, which were never before. There was no Dals and Kalids.
and that's kind of the one that's stuck.
Yeah, and so I think it's because people liked it that they were like, okay, we can retcon this.
But also, I think when these were first aired, there were no repeats.
True.
Yeah.
So
There was no
completely
home media at that time.
completely different audience 5 years later who wouldn't remember much because there was no repeats. But
Yeah.
I am kind of surprised when I watch Classic Who how much they do kind of reference. Like they did the Three Doctors, and it's like, okay, how many of you know who the first Doctor is?
Yeah.
So, but good for them for doing it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we include some of the Classic Who serials in our podcast, because some of it is sort of canon-y, because they're drawing on themes as opposed to little details, I guess.
Right.
And speaking of Classic Who, Russell announced that there will be a spin-off series involving the Sea Devils, which is a Classic Who villain, alien.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, and it's called the War Between the Land and the Sea, and he says it's about what happens when the Doctor is not on Earth, and it'll star
Russell T Davies,
Midshipman Frame from Voyage of the Damned, and Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who plays Martha Jones's sister Tish Jones in season 3. They're playing new characters, but these are the same actors who have been previously in Doctor Who. And then actors who will be coming back are Gemma Redgrave, who plays Kate Lethbridge Stewart, and I can't remember his name, Ibrahim.
Yeah, Colonel.
He's a unit soldier trooper guy, and he's recently been in Doctor Who.
Yeah, he was in the Christmas special, and then he was in the final 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah, of
when
this
Unit
current season,
came back.
Yeah.
Where there was spoilers, but there was a look.
There's a moment.
There was a moment.
Yeah. So it's we'll see. I'm excited because
I kind of wish it was still Trish Jones. It's like I don't know. I just would like to see, after everything that she's gone through and seeing everything she's seen. It's like, how did she get into this?
Yeah.
And apparently, Kate hires every single person who's ever seen the Doctor. Which
I find that it's not. I find that it's going to be a different character.
Oh yeah, I am too.
But this would have been fun, I think.
That'd be funny if in the unit interview. So, first question: have you met the Doctor? You're hired.
If it was really Midshipman Frame, you'd just be going around going, "This planet smells."
And then we got a clip, which you can now see, I believe, on YouTube, of the Christmas special, the 2024 Christmas special, which is written by Stephen Moffat.
And you can also see it in the YouTube video of the full panel.
Yes, that's correct. That's also on YouTube, officially on the Doctor Who channel.
I was actually kind of surprised because usually they cut trailers. So I was happy that they showed it.
I think because they released the trailers that they're able to include them now. Yeah.
Do you think Mel's going to be in it?
The way season 1 left off, she's got to be in something.
She has to be, but why haven't they announced her yet?
Maybe it's scheduling.
Could be. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I felt like Russell and Millie and Ncuti fielded the Q&A questions pretty well.
And also, it was Millie and Ncuti's first Comic-Con, so you could kind of see that they were like, they weren't overwhelmed,
but they were high energy.
Yeah, they were like, "Wow, I can't believe this."
They were more than whelmed. It wasn't overwhelmed, but that's a lot of people all at once. I mean, when Millie, during this panel, she had taken a drink of water when someone came up to ask, and she could not swallow. She was laughing and having a good time. They loved it, but it was a woman who was dressed up as her during Rogue,
Yeah.
So she had to swallow. I'm sorry, that's great. So she was really touched by it.
Yeah, it was nice to see their giddy quality of being in Hall H and being at Comic-Con. From it was genuine. I don't know how to put it, but it was infectious in the room.
Yes.
You could tell that they were excited to be there and they were happy to ask questions, even though some of them were kind of not to my liking. But they were having a good time, and Russell is such a veteran of this, because I remember my first Doctor Who panel was with him as David Tennant was leaving. So to have that come back around, I was like, oh, this is cool. And he's still got the same energy after 15 plus years later.
Yeah. You're right. That was a good panel too.
Yeah.
They announce anything else?
An actress for the Christmas special that you know better than I do, Bridgerton?
Yes, from Dairy Girls. But she's well known from Bridgerton, but she was also one of the biggies from Dairy Girls, which you can see both of those on Netflix, I think. And if you do watch Dairy Girls and you're not Irish, put the subtitles on. And her name is Nicola Collin.
Yeah, there was a big cheer when she showed up on screen. because she kind of zoomed in. Zoom as in like the Zoom app. she came in and was like, "Hello, Hall H or Comic Con. I am sad I can't be there, but here's a clip." And I was like, "I don't know who you are. Sorry."
Is it Coughlin?
It might be Coughlin.
Okay. I love how you did Zoom 2 different ways. And it's like, I like that double writing. That's great. But everyone there seemed to know who she was from, either Bridgerton.
Yeah,
I think a lot of
sure
people do.
it was
It's just
Bridgerton,
it's
I mean, Dairy Girl's popular, but it's really niche. So, but that's what made me, when they announced it, it was like, no way. So
one of the questions was, which alien race do you want to meet? Nuti's like, the Daleks. Get me to write a story.
Yeah.
From what he said, write a story about the Daleks is how I picked it up. He wants to do that.
Well, because of our theory that you have to use the Daleks per year, once a year.
and Nations Estate.
Yeah, and their year isn't over, so the Christmas special might be the Daleks.
Right, yeah.
Might do something like Capaldi's where they're just running through it. They're,
Right.
There they are. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
That was a great eating.
He's having lunch.
No, he's the one that goes pumpkin spice latte.
And the Dalek turns around and then nope, and that's it. That's all you need.
Totally.
And she wanted to meet the Silurians.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that was cool. That she was like, "I want to meet the lizards that live on Earth," and Russell was like, "Silurians," or he says, "Silurians." So it's great that Russell is also a fan. He knows all these names and all these things on command. So that's.
And plugged in the spin-off going, and they're related to the Sea Devils,
Right.
which is part of the spin-off. So.
That was a very good dovetail into his plug.
And you can see it wasn't planned. It's just like, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect segue. Go for it.
I didn't know they were related.
Yeah,
I do remember that
Yeah.
from the old, was it 70s or 80s?
I think there's one where you see both because the Silurians look different in Modern Who now.
It was the 5th Doctor. We did the episode when they were in the sub.
So I think.
So it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they showed them, and it's like, oh, that's what they were supposed to. Okay. I like the newer makeup personally.
Yes, because
Expressive. It's a lot more expressive.
the Sea Devils and the Silurians are of the same race, but the Sea Devils stayed underwater while the Silurians went onto land. And if I remember correctly, the Silurians in Classic Who, they spoke with a whisper hiss.
Right.
And so I'm glad that the modern Silurians got rid of that.
Yeah.
And they made the mask to bring back the look of it, which was good. But then when they took it off, a little more human, which had more expression
Yes.
that the actor can go through. So that was nice.
Oh, and again, spoiler, but kind of a running theme through this last season of Doctor Who is that it snows every time something happens with Ruby. So they made it snow in Hall H, and I thought that was really cool.
That was brilliant.
Was it just by the stage, or was it everywhere?
It was just by the front because
Okay.
that's where the lights were, so you could see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was really funny.
And it looked like it was a surprise to both Ncuti and Millie as well.
That's what I like the most.
Yeah.
You could see that. Oh no, here we go.
So
So
what
what else?
The confetti falling in the Loki panel.
It just kept falling
Just
over.
one strip of confetti, and then it was like, I don't know if it was Tom Hiddleston, but it hit somebody's,
Somewhere close.
but like on them.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like, tell him to knock it off.
So what was next? What else? How was the whole convention? Did you do other panels or just mostly go around the floor?
Yeah, so Thursday I did about half the floor, so I didn't get to do the whole floor this year. Because of the writer's strike last year, a lot of the panels were just showing clips instead of like having talent and people talk about their work. So this year, it felt like the panels were back in full force. There were longer lines, there was more talent available for Q&A and presentations. And so this was unusual for me, but I did Hall H 2 days in a row, full 2 days. It was in Hall H most of Friday, and then I was in Hall H all of Saturday. So on Saturday, I got to see the Superman and Lois panel, which was fun because Superman is my favorite comic book character. And because of the pandemic, Superman and Lois as a show has never gotten to do a Hall H panel, so this was their first and last one.
Oh,
Whoa.
So it was really cool to be there. And Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulak were very appreciative and grateful. It was great to see both of them on screen, on stage.
I was surprised. I did not know they're going to actually go through with the next season.
Yeah.
So I thought because of everything that happened, it's like they might have scrubbed it. So I was like, yay!
Because it's been so long.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad.
Yeah. And then after that, I saw the Berserker panel, which is Keanu Reeves' comic book, and they were talking about how they're going to do a Netflix anime series and a Netflix movie. And Keanu Reeves is just like this. He feels like he would be my friend if he weren't an actor. He's just so like goofy up there, and
Really?
goofy in a good way. Like he's playful, he's joking, and he does his own bits type of thing. So he had a whole team that was working on this Berserker property, and he was just like really kind of chill and fun up there, like, and humble. That was one of the big things where they'd be like, none of this would be without him, and he was like, it's you guys that do all the heavy lifting type of thing. So
Well, that's cool.
it was really nice. Yeah. And then Todd McFarlane showed up to present him with a prototype of the Berserker toy that they're releasing.
Oh, fun.
So he was fanboying over a toy of himself. I mean, who wouldn't do that? And he was playing with it on the stage table. So that was funny. And then he was then presented with the Inkpot Award, which is like an award for contributions to pop culture and media. So the Comic-Con programming director came up and presented him with this statue, citing things like The Matrix and John Wick, and all these other works that he's done. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, I've never heard of this award until this Comic-Con, but it sounds like a Lifetime Achievement Award type of thing for contributions just to
That's fun.
pop culture in general. And then that was the Star Trek panel.
And how was that?
That was, again, the Q&A was a little dicey. For me, it's a Q&A, so you can't go up there and give an essay and then ask a 2-second question. Like,
Really?
ask your question, people. It's okay to say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I like the show, and then you ask your question. I don't know why people have to give a whole preamble.
Star Trek fans have never been concise.
One thing that I remember for other Star Trek conventions is the person on stage really can change how the audience acts.
Yes.
And what type of questions they're going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So that surprised me that who's up there is like, I'm not going to take certain types of questions, but they didn't do it in a rude way. It was, okay, you're going to be more thoughtful. You kind of dismissed some of the other ones quickly. So everybody in the audience got it. It's like, this is what we're going to try and ask to try and get it, or change how they ask it, even if it's the same question. And it made it a lot more interesting.
Yeah, like nobody asked Kate Mulgrew silly questions.
Right.
Because she just comes out and
dismisses them.
No, she just comes out and you kind of go, oh, she's serious. You know, not in a bad way, but she's very like there's a lot of German Star Trek fans that come in for conventions. And someone got up and said, oh, we just came in from Germany, blah, blah, and they asked her a question. She went, so I have a question. I've always been curious. How did they teach the Holocaust in Germany? It was like, it was a sincere, I am curious, not.
But it's like, okay, this is the tone I'm setting.
Well,
Pay attention.
We're going to be talking about serious, important things. And Janeway doing serious, important things. Yeah. Not, how does the transporter work?
Right, right.
But I'll never forget that. It was like, did she just ask about the Holocaust?
Well, it's funny because I also went to a separate panel, non-Star Trek related. It was about women in pop culture and the media, and Kate Mulgrew was on there.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, and one of the ending questions, I can't remember what prompted it, but her answer and response was, I just like to sit down and talk to people like, what do you think of God? Do you believe? Do you not believe? And I just want to have that conversation with somebody. And I was like, it's very deep and meaningful.
And she'd be great to have those kind of conversations.
Yeah. So that's why when you said, how do they teach the Holocaust in Germany? I was more like, oh, as in the light bulb is connecting, because I've never seen Kate Mulgrew speak in a panel. So that's why I said that. Not like, oh, she did that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not rude. It's just
Yeah.
being able to navigate.
It's genuine
Curiosity.
and I just want to know, and we can have a good conversation.
Yeah.
I love conversations like that. It's also why I liked Alex Kingston. She kind of said the same thing, where it was just like, well, although we agree. So I think it would just be like the two of us sitting at a table making fun of everybody else.
And speaking of going back to the Doctor Who panel, they were talking about guest stars that they wanted and specifically wrote for, and then Russell T Davies said Alex Kingston. So fingers crossed that she'll show up eventually or sometime.
We now have an answer to the original, not one of the original questions we had with River Song, and that was, how does she know David Tennant? You know, because she says, "Oh, you're so young," but then Tennant left the show, and it was Matt Smith. My headcanon now is she met the 15th Doctor, and it really, really worked.
14th.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, the numbers don't matter anymore anyway.
I
Sorry.
apologize.
Bitter. Hello, I'm here.
My headcanon now is that she met the 14th Doctor. And that's why she says to him in the library, "You're so young." You know, she didn't really notice it until then. And when you look at the 14th Doctor, he is older. And so that kind of made me go, excellent. That's
it.
That's one of those little things that's like bugs purists. And now it's solved.
But I never had that problem because
I didn't either.
to me it was, it was just a new Doctor, and then she looked in the eyes and saw the actual entity of the Doctor. That's what I think it was at the time. But retrofitting it this way, I like it.
Oh, and okay, so before we get into the Star Trek panel a little more, there was a friendship thing going on with both Doctor Who and Star Trek during this Comic-Con. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to that because of the Hall H situation. Once you're in Hall H, you don't.
You never leave and get back.
You're leaving, you're leaving.
So there was a couple things I didn't get to do, like meet up with a couple of friends, explore the rest of the exhibit hall, go to those smaller panels, not smaller, but smaller room panels. And I didn't get to go to, there was a official Doctor Who podcast recording at the San Diego Downtown Library. Didn't get to go to that. And I didn't get to go to the off-site, I guess, pop-up experience of Doctor Who and Star Trek that was in the Gaslamp District.
Oh, right. Yeah, I saw pictures of that.
And I didn't get to go to the panel with both Russell and Alex Kurtzman, because that was at the same time as the Marvel panel. So I get to do that. So there was a lot I didn't get to do, and I didn't get to meet up with Monica and Nate from Temple of Geek like we had planned. But Hall H is Hall H, sorry.
But you did TARDIS photo op, right?
Yeah, I did briefly go by the BBC booth, and I saw that they had a portion of the interior of the TARDIS where the the police call box doors would open up into the TARDIS console interior. So that was cool. It was very well done. With the right angle, it looked like you would be on set.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, back to the Star Trek panel. Alex Kurtzman was there, Kiva Goldsman, and sorry, but somebody else was there and then a third guy for the Strange New Worlds panel. And then they had Ethan Peck, who plays Spock, and Rebecca Romaine, who plays Una, or number 1 on the show. And they were, of course, they couldn't say much. So they were just cycling through the people on each show, so the fans could see them and ask questions that most of the time they couldn't answer.
Right.
That's interesting that they split them up by ship.
Because Kurtzman stayed there for every one and then started to just cycle through the rest of the shows.
Okay. I guess they have so many now. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, then after that one was the Lower Decks panel, because this is their last season. So we had Tawny Newsom. Tawny. Jack Quaid. Oh, sorry. Newsom plays Mariner, and then Jack Quaid plays Boimler. Then Noelle Wells?
Yes.
Plays Tendi. She plays Tendi.
Oh, yeah, don't get old.
And then
was Jack Quaid on both panels for the boys and this?
Yes, he was. That was cool to see Jack Quaid in 2 separate panels. and then Jerry O'Connell, who plays the number one Ransom on the Cerritos. So it was funny to see both Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Romaine, because they are married but on separate panels. And then
and they're both first officers.
that's right.
Yeah.
And then Mike McMahon, the creator of Lower Decks, was there as well.
Do you think they're going to do another crossover?
Somebody asked that, and they said they couldn't answer. They're like, we'd like to, we want to.
I just wonder if Jerry's going to make the crossover so that they'll actually act somewhat together. So I thought that could be interesting. Everybody I think would really like that. But.
Yeah, so when that was brought up, Tawny and Jack were like, we had our time on the live action, so we want the other people that are on Lower Decks to go live action as well. And then that's when Jerry O'Connell's like, yeah, I want to go live action so I can, meet number one, Una.
I've heard so much about her.
Yeah. And then after that, they did the new shows that are coming. Starfleet Academy, which has Holly Hunter as the Chancellor
of the Starfleet
of the Academy. And then Tawny, who plays Mariner, is going to be a writer on a comedy, a live action comedy that they're doing.
She's also a writer on Starfleet Academy.
So that's the part that got me confused when it was on the panel, when Alex Kurtzman told her to stay. I thought the live action comedy was going to be Starfleet. And then they're going to do a movie called Section 31, which they revealed the cast of that. And I was pleasantly surprised, sort of, that Rachel Garrett is one of the cast members on the show, or the movie, with Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, a young Rachel Garrett.
Okay. I thought you meant the same actress. Who was
and she doesn't at all look like Rachel Garrett.
Okay.
So you'd be forgiven for not going, oh, Garrett.
And we saw that trailer as well, and
I keep thinking
holding back my decision, I think, because it didn't really grab me.
Yeah, I keep thinking it's a series, but it's a movie.
Right.
I have a complex relationship with Section 31 anyway. Shouldn't exist. And yes, I know it doesn't, but
that's a deep cut.
Also, Paul Giamatti is the bad guy.
Yeah.
The Academy. So it's like they got some, because I read that he's a huge Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
And he mentioned somewhere he wanted to play Klingon.
So yes, it was in an interview, some other thing he was doing, and the people watched that interview, and then they approached his agent, and then they got what's the possibility we're going to get Paul Giamatti? They got him, and then while they were talking about what to do, he's like, I want to play a villain. And they're like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And then so they got it.
I also read that they were thinking, well, it's Paul Giamatti, so we'll have him do like an important one episode character. And then he came in and they're like, well, if you want to do the villain, that's the whole series. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, yes,
I'll do the whole series.
And then they casted young unknowns for the Starfleet cadets, and they played us. They had to do this during the pandemic, so they played us their Zoom meetings where they told them that they had been selected, and that was
that's nice.
They're very fun and emotional.
That I haven't seen.
I think that's on YouTube now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. You could see the genuine joy of all of them. That was fun.
And Paul said we go watch it. No, I'll watch it after.
But yeah, that was my San Diego Comic-Con 2024. Oh, I forgot to talk about the Marvel panel. Oh man, yeah. Everybody on Saturday was waiting for that Marvel panel. It was amazing. From the little bit that I stayed, it was.
You were in there?
Yeah.
A little bit. You stayed? You didn't stay for the whole thing?
Yeah, I had to leave. My ride was.
Oh no.
So you didn't know I had to tell you?
No, my friend stayed, so he told me.
Oh, okay.
So I knew what was going on, and he sent me photos.
Oh, okay.
Because he was still there, but I stayed just for the Captain America portion.
Oh, okay.
That was the beginning.
Yeah.
That was
good.
That was such a treat. Like Tim Blake Nelson coming back all the way from the Edward Norton Hulk movie. I don't know if anybody remembers, but you see like his head kind of throb.
Oh, the guy in the yeah. And I don't know the character, but
again, spoilers. But he's the leader, which is a Hulk villain. So it's cool that they're, rewarding you for paying attention to that. And then Harrison Ford shows up, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Did he act like the Hulk?
a little bit? Yeah, it's
okay.
just.
Oh yeah, but on social media, that was all still pictures everywhere. But to have him come, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm glad he did, and just look at your career. You did some great things, and now have fun with this.
Yes,
This is a whole different aspect of it, but it's still something with the Captain America storylines are a lot more interesting and character driven, and the whole political and
it's very Winter Soldier,
right?
And
yes.
I think that's perfect for right now.
And that's what Kevin Feige said. So when Kevin Feige came on stage, let me start off with, they had a choir singing the Deadpool. What's the song? I can't remember. It's a pop song.
Like a prayer.
Yes, Like a Prayer. And then they had a whole choir coming out and a whole bunch of different Deadpools, like Woody Deadpool, Lady Pool, Punk Rocker Deadpool, like just a whole bunch of variants of Deadpools walking through the aisles of Hall H, and that was fun to have that. And as the choir was going, and then Kevin Feige comes out, and immediately I was like, Hail Hydra. and then when he introduced the Winter Soldier as the first thing he was going to talk about, he said that he wanted this new Captain America Brave New World to return back to what Winter Soldier was, and it's like spy espionage type of thing. And I was like, that's why I like Winter Soldier, so I'm looking forward to Brave New World.
Yeah, nice.
And then not Captain. Harrison Ford comes out and goes, "Get off my shield."
That's good.
Yeah. So I was bummed that I didn't get to stay for all of Hall H, but what I did see was amazing.
Good.
Oh, sorry, Marvel's Hall H panel.
What I just noticing, if you watch the Deadpool and Wolverine, how many different Deadpools there are. So I think that's really great for Halloween this year. There's going to be a lot of variations on Deadpool. Yes. People can really personalize it and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Including Welsh Deadpool, which is the Ryan Reynolds threw in a Easter egg to his soccer team.
Oh.
Which is in the Welsh city of Wrexham. And so there's one of the Deadpools, he's got the big Welsh flag on his chest.
Okay,
and the guy in the costume is the star athlete of the team. So he flew the guy in. It's like, this is brilliant.
So yeah, Comic-Con.
So what was the most interesting piece of merchandise you saw for sale?
Well, personally, since I spent most of my time in Hall H, I didn't buy a lot this year.
Good.
I spent most of my money on food. I mean, at Comic-Con, you get a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of vendors who they're already in the hole because they're paying for the space to sell.
Right.
And then so their prices are going to help them get even and then make a profit. So it's hard to get like a deal, but sometimes you're going to get stuff. I didn't see very much this year. I mainly look for vintage things, old things, retro things, if you will. So that stuff feels like it's getting more niche, and I go to smaller shows for that stuff.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I can't think of anything this year because like Hasbro usually has an exclusive, and they have their booth is mainly for purchasing exclusives, which that was the one thing I did get was the Cobra Commander exclusive because I'm a fan of G.I. Joe. But then all that other stuff, who is this for? I don't know.
But you did buy me the $10,000 Titan A.
Oh, I don't think that was on sale, so it's worthless. Just kidding.
You stole it? You just picked it up in Comic-Con and carried it out? Nobody noticed?
There was no price tag on that, but that was cool to see those Enterprise models with all the lights. Yeah. They had the G. It looks really cool.
They had a G. Oh, a G.
The G.
But I thought it was labeled as Titan A.
I don't know, but it was the G from the...
Well, this is the same ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out.
We're discussing letters. It's important. But yeah, that Enterprise, the motion picture Enterprise is just so nice.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, Seven ship.
That was nice.
This is brilliant podcasting. We're showing photos on our phone.
We're all on the same page.
Oh no, this is okay. This is. Oh, you also found out that the holographic doctor is in.
Yeah, Robert Picardo
Yeah.
is back.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Which doctor is it? Because there's two
That's
at
right.
that point. Deep cut.
Very deep. Is it as deep as a doctor would make an incision? You guys can't
You
see
upset
this.
the dogs.
You can't see this, but Brian's face is priceless right now. That is something I went all the way to Comic-Con to get. Well, all right. That wraps up the Doctor Who panel in Hall H and Comic-Con in general for 2024. Another one in the books. So thanks for listening. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time when the future becomes the present.
You just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady.
Find him on Facebook at The Universe Explodes.
Additional music is by Damiel Paggio.
Additional music by Paul Ohlers.
All our episodes are engineered by Allburn, and you can find him at allburnbinkley.com.
You can also find this show in several places.
Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast.
Subscribe, review, and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WhoKnewPodcast.
All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com.
Visit our Facebook page.
Please leave comments, reviews, and click like to support Who Knew Podcast.
To listen to our show on your Amazon Echo device, subscribe to us on Amazon Music.
And then ask your Amazon device to play your podcast subscriptions.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who.
The longest running sci-fi show in history.
And especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T Davies.
Thanks to Russell, Sidney Newman,
Verity Lambert, Ron Grainer,
And all those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
Your work continues to inspire and entertain.